Great. Good.
But Face Zero's back. Continuing anime.
Tom.
So, yeah, there are specifically some things in anime that severely piss me off, and I hate it whenever an anime does this.
Just
Sword Art Online, Sword Art Online I was great with, up until this point. It was the end of the very first arc, where they finally figured out, well, spoilers, I'm gonna fucking spoil the thing for you.
Dude, it's fucking old. There's a second one.
I know.
So there's no spoilers for this fucking anime.
So they finally figured out that the guy who was controlling the entire world, or created the entire world and is controlling it, is one of their guild leader.
The Crimson Knight guy.
Yeah, he's the guild leader. So then the main character is just like, if I defeat you in a one-on-one duel, a fair duel, you shut this down and let all of us free. And he agrees to it. And I'm like, damn, it's a hell of a bet.
That's a bold fucking move, Cotton.
Yep. And then, so he does it. It's going pretty damn even, and then the main character gets beat.
That's because he uses a special power, first off.
Well, first of all, his girlfriend sacrifices herself to take one killing blow, but it's not enough. He still gets taken down anyway. So his HP drops to 0, and in Sword Art Online, HP equals 0 equals you're dead. And that's it.
Yeah, because you're actually plugged into the game.
Yep. And so it literally shuts down your nervous system and you die.
Yeah.
But, turns out,
you got an Oculus Rift
main character is immune. Main character doesn't fucking follow the entire goddamn point that made this entire series interesting. And this
fact that you die in the game, you die
for real.
Don't remember why he doesn't.
They don't. They didn't explain it. He died. He died, and then his ghost self came back and killed the boss. Essentially,
and then he talked to him.
What it felt, and then he had a heart-to-heart with the guy who made the world, and then he just let them all free. And also, his girlfriend wasn't dead either, even though she died sacrificing or to block one killing blow from the bad guy.
Yeah.
That seriously fucking pisses me off. You don't fucking break the rules of the entire universe that you created just to allow your main character to get into a supposedly critically terrible position.
Yeah.
Like, the entire rule of Sword Art Online was you die in the game, you die in the real world. There's no fucking coming back. Yeah, they let you know that
right in episode 1. I mean, within the first 15 minutes, when the big Crimson guy shows up and he's like, I locked you all fucking in here, you all can't leave. You dead, you're dead.
But you don't fucking do that. It makes that entire point, it makes all that work and everything that happened just absolutely meaningless. If you just say, oh, he's fine. You have to abide by the exact same rules that you've been abiding by the entire time.
Okay, what pissed me off about the anime, though, for Sword Art Online, was that nobody can dual wield except for the main character, because he's got a secret ability, but they don't let you know that until later on.
He doesn't until he reveals it himself, and then they later tell you that it's specifically because he has the highest speed stat in the entire world.
Yeah, because he was the beta tester, and they left all that normal shit,
Mm-hmm.
Which I didn't enjoy that, because I was like, I don't understand that, because then you're like, well, can anybody else become, a dual wielder if their stats are high enough? Because he's the only one in the whole entire show.
It really doesn't make sense. And then also the bad guy also gives himself the ultimate guard, which is specifically the person who has the highest defense stat in the world.
So, some of the things in the anime kinda were very frustrating, but overall, like we said in the last one, the character development kept me into the show.
Yeah.
And,
I was loving the characters and the world they were creating. It's just that then they just pissed me off with that bullshit where they broke their own rules for the sake of trying to make a fake, critically shocking moment. That's why Attack on Titan does it so goddamn well. Where, something critically fucking happens, and if the main character ends up coming back for it, it's for a damn good reason. Like at the beginning of Attack on Titan, he literally gets eaten by a Titan.
Yeah.
and is getting digested on the inside, but his father was one of the people doing original research towards the Titans and fucking injected him with this shit that legitimately allows him to turn into a Titan.
Yeah, kind of fucking weird, but...
It's kind of like, if you think about it just in that aspect, but then if it was just that, it's just that, oh, he can transform into a Titan, that wouldn't be all that important, or wouldn't be all that critical. But it's the fact that he does that, and then it illuminates so much else about what your understanding of the Titans actually is.
And it allows you to ask more questions about it.
Yeah, it makes you ask questions. It opens up so much more stuff for later on in the story. Like, that's it done very well to allow something...
Well, hold on. Before we get to Attack on Titan, I need to do my fucking little rant about goddamn Sword Art Online, Tom.
Okay. Shoot it.
Okay,
shoot me.
So I loved the first fucking season, or the first arc, Sword Art Online. So, you know, we had our little query about the end of it. Whatever. Yep. Fuck it was awesome. They go back, or then he goes into joins that fucking little fairy ass game created by the same fucking bad guy.
Well, same engine, but then
that other guy,
the new
has
bad guy,
all of it.
The new bad guy was the one who started raining control.
My thing is I didn't like the fairies, Tom.
Well,
that whole fairy fucking part.
Yeah.
And it's annoying because...
And how they scaled him back up was something I didn't...
Yeah, all of a sudden he's the same now. You know, that whole second arc for me just really threw me off, and then I seen there was Sword Art Online 2, and I'm like, fuck, I don't know if I want to watch this goddamn thing. I didn't like the ending of the first one. But I gave it the benefit of the doubt because I like the character development, and I felt like, hey, I fucking watched the first one, god damn it, I gotta go. Gotta continue this. And what you need to do is fucking watch number 2 because it is awesome. Because it involves the government actually asks him to play a different game, and they give him the same exact stats. They basically transfer his character from Sword Art to this other game, and to go and find this bad guy that's killing people in their game. And you feel for the guy because he doesn't want to go into it. He doesn't want to go back into this game where he can get, where he has to do that, where people are getting killed because he has to re-experience everything he just fucking went through.
Well, it's good that he actually has a human reaction to it, and he's just like, no, I'll save the world again. Well, at least...
Yeah, and then
at least it's a human reaction.
Yeah, because the government asks him, and he says, sure, I'll fucking do it. I don't want to talk any more about it. I feel like you should watch it, but that's your call. I think that you would enjoy it. So far, I bought the fucking game on the Vita, because, I'm one of the few people in the goddamn world, apparently, that has a Vita.
Yeah.
Where should we go from now, Tom? Next topic. Europe.
Well, I was just gonna say other tropes, because Sword Art Online just had one, that I really hate. There are other tropes that I really, really don't like. One of them is,
power scaling. God damn it.
Because if you can't properly define
how strong an enemy is, or how their power compares to other enemies, bad guys, or
other teammates, or if you can't define that well, it's just fucking annoying because you kind of they have to straight up then tell you, oh, he's more powerful. What anime was it that did it so terribly? D. Greyman.
Yes. D.
Greyman did it so fucking terribly of telling how powerful one person was to the next. It was so bad.
They're like, hey, this guy's really strong, and then all of a sudden the main character is just better somehow. And you're like, well, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden they introduce another guy, and he's just 10 times stronger. He just fucking wipes everything out, and it's frustrating, because then you're like, I don't know if I should like this new character because he's stronger, or is he just strong at this point, and all of a sudden, no, he's going to be super weak.
Yeah,
and they're just gonna throw in another character. It was the worst
towards like the last bit of it that I watched, where they were attacking this wind dragon demon thing. It's just like, oh, he's really strong. He was specifically attacking the girl who has wind power boots.
Yep.
And he literally like launches a whirlwind at her, and she's just like, oh, he's too strong. I'm like, you didn't even fucking try. You have the same power. And you didn't even try to do anything. You just said he's too strong. That doesn't mean anything.
The thing about that, too, that the Gray Man is if they would have continued the anime, they actually show, like, his dad and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And holy fuck,
that's what I wanted to see.
Dude,
but then they didn't have enough on Netflix, and then by the time I finished up the stuff on Netflix, I was just like, I'm done. I'm just
done. I watched it actually like online. I had to find it on a different like anime site that's only online, and holy fuck was he strong. And like, because he dual wielded pistols, and god damn it was he cool. I mean, if you go back to watch it, I would just Google what episode he's in and just watch that. I wouldn't even finish the show because it doesn't actually like have a distinct ending to it yet, as far as I remember. I mean, I watched that like 2 years ago now, so it's been a while.
But... Yeah. As well as there's a new one that I've learned to come and hate, thanks to the latest arc of Bleach, the manga.
I was just gonna
where you
mention...
constantly add new shit over and over and over again to the point where it just does not make any sense anymore.
Yeah, that should have ended
just been like
3 arcs ago.
It's
like
just,
after the Aizen arc.
After Aizen arc, it just got fucking weird.
I wish you watched wrestling, because I only watch wrestling to drink to it, but we could have a good laugh.
On just how bad it is? Then I don't understand why I would watch it. If it's so bad, why would I watch it?
Because it's so bad that it's awesome. Like, I guess that's the only way I can explain that shit. Because before we moved and I had all my roommates, man, we used to just get drunk and watch WrestleMania and shit. And then we would bet on each match, like, if they did a certain move, you'd have to drink to it. Oh, yeah, you get toasted pretty quick.
The last anime thing that I just kind of don't enjoy is just kind of just my personal affiliation with it, is that I don't really like the super uppity, super hyperactive with the uber tropey characters. I don't
like Goku?
I'm not really a fan of that. Like, as an animation style, I'm sure it's really cool. But yeah, I don't really enjoy those type of animes. I guess it's just my style that I like the really dark stories that are super intense, that have every like thing that happens is really critical to the story. There's not much fluff, which is why I can't go back to Dragon Ball Z ever again. I watched it once all the way through during my freshman year of college, and as soon as I finished, I'm like, I can't watch this again. It takes 10 episodes for anything to happen in that show.
What about the episode where Goku learns to drive a car, but he can fly?
Yeah, that's just fucking pointless episode.
Yeah. No, I mean, Dragon Ball Z was the first anime I ever watched.
It is for a lot of people.
Yeah, it was my first one. It was with that one with Yu Yu Hakusho was the other one I used to watch a lot.
Inuyasha is another one that a lot of people started off their anime with.
I didn't watch that one because it looked like it was like a furry anime.
I watched it for a while because Steph really loves it. That was like her thing that she grew up on anime watching. But it's definitely, it's like DBZ, where like you can have like episode after episode and it doesn't really matter to the overall story until like 20 episodes later where something actually happens with the primary villain.
Yeah, like anything that... I kind of just grew up watching Adult Swim, so when they put anime on it, right after school at 4 o'clock, they had Toonami back in the day. That's what I watched. They had Dragon Ball Z, they had Yu Yu Hakusho, they had, like, Inuyasha I didn't watch, but they had Gundam and stuff like that. So, but since I've become an adult now, I've my eyes have been opened to the great Netflix and Hulu. Not so much Netflix, but mostly Hulu. And goddamn, is it awesome! Actually, I began watching a lot more anime when we really started kicking it off.
After we got over our stint when we started working at Superons, where we finally realized that we're kind of the same person and not a douchebag.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're still a douchebag, but...
Thanks, asshole.
Oh, God. I think that we should save that for another story, though.
Oh.
How Chris and Tom met.
How the CTC.
Which is actually a pretty
we really
good
kind of...
story.
Yeah, you introduced something to me, and then I take it to you to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Like,
Bleach, I'm like, hey, check
Bleach
this
is
out.
what got me hooked onto anime. When you showed me, like, one of the best fights from it, I'm like, oh, god damn, this is badass.
Did I show you the... Which one did I show you?
You showed me the Ichigo against Ukiura end fight.
Oh, yeah.
The 3-episode long fight that's fucking intense.
Yeah.
So, like, you introduced me to that, and then I was just like, oh, Steph always recommended all these animes to me. Maybe I'll actually give them a shot, and ended up liking so many of them. And then I think it really kicked off when I said I liked anime to my band friends, and Lalo was just like, oh, dude, I love anime too. And then he recommended Death Note. And then it's just like, after Death Note, I'm just like, okay, now I have to watch, like, all of these. And so then it got me to Full Metal Alchemist, and then that got me to Attack on Titan, and just
I think the greatest thing we ever watched was when you said, hey, Chris, watch Attack on Titan. We need to talk. And we watched it. After talking about it, we're like, we need to watch this. And then we sat down and did. Separately. But man, yeah, Attack on Titan, I think, really changed the bar for us.
Yeah.
Now.
Because that show is just fucking amazing.
I can't wait until rumor has it that season 2 starts in June.
Ah, yes.
There was a rumor that it wasn't going to start, and now the latest updates is June. So.
Damn.
Because if you've been following the manga, which I haven't, I just want to watch the anime.
I just want to watch the anime.
I guess the manga
once I start in one thing, I tend not to switch to the other.
Yeah.
Like, I never read the Full Metal Alchemist anime.
Fourth arc.
Like, there's only one anime that after I watched the anime, I watched the manga, and that's because Steph recommended it to me. It's kind of a weird anime premise, but I actually got really into it, and they actually did a lot of really clever things with it. But it was like a demon that came to the human world, and the demon feeds off the energy that comes off when a homicidal killer is found out, and all their methods of killing people are unraveled. It's just like,
what?
It's kind of a really fucking weird premise.
Yeah.
But they took it a lot of really cool places, and then Steph is just like, yeah, I finished up the anime, and she's like, the manga ends, like, way better. She said the manga ends, like, way, way better than that. And then I'm just like, I need to read it. And then I read it, and then I read it again right after I finished to reacquaint myself. I'm like, this manga is, like, really fucking good. Yeah, I think that's, like, the only time that I ever actually switched from manga to anime or back.
I don't think we ever talked about that one.
No, it's called
weird.
It's weird, but it's honestly, it's really fucking good. It took me a little while to get used to it, just because it is that different. But they actually do a lot of really clever things with it. It's called... Oh, shit, what's it called? It's called Majin Tentai Noogami Neuro, is what it's called. It's a really long and Japanese title, and I don't think they've ever done a dub of it. But the manga is by far superior to the anime. Although they kind of did what the original Full Metal Alchemist did, where it matched the manga for the first part, and then it didn't. Yeah, so that was a really cool one. Oh yeah, and then what other things, like, you introduce something to me, and then I look at it to a completely different level than you do. And then
you get more
and then I get you hooked further on it.
Cool.
It's like a vicious cycle. Like, you introduced me to League of Legends. And then I started to play that feverishly. And then I started watching the pros do it, and that was my first introduction to esports, and I'm fucking hooked on League of Legends professionally.
Yeah,
now. It's
you're like,
so
hey,
fucking amazing.
You're like, you gotta watch this. You gotta watch these pros.
Yeah, I gotta watch this.
I started watching it. I'm like, holy shit! Now I freaking watch it every week to see if TSM or anyone's playing.
Yeah, because the playoffs are going on right now, and I had that on all day while I was editing videos.
Yeah, I need to get my
so
ass.
good.
All of them will be up on YouTube tomorrow. So
yeah, next weekends are gonna be the best, because those are the semifinals. So you got like Cloud9 and TSM in it, dude. But like
is
CLG,
Gravity still in it?
No, they just got kicked.
Oh,
they got beat by Team Impulse. Pretty definitively as well. They did one game really well, but then other than that, like Team Impulse just figured them out and just decimated them. As well as CLG versus Team Liquid.
Yeah.
CLG didn't stand a chance.
Really?
Yeah, and CLG was second place going into last week, and then Cloud9 beat them out of that. And then, yeah, and honestly, it's exactly what everyone on, social media and stuff says about CLG, is that when it just comes down to the games that really matter, they crack. They just don't perform. And it was absolutely the case. I think that's what the announcers
talk about, too.
Yeah. That was absolutely the case in their best of... It was so evident in the best of 5, and then it was extremely evident in their tiebreaker with Cloud9, where Cloud9 just swept them at 25 minutes. They just won so clearly. They just, under pressure, they just don't perform. It's just really disappointing when they did so damn well the entire season.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, that was kind of a little more insight into you and me, I guess, about what we think about our anime, because goddamn it.
Think about our anime and how we essentially just make this vicious cycle where we introduce one thing to each other, and
and somebody's like, hey, no, check this part out.
We can talk about the internet side of things that you introduced me to and I introduced you to that we constantly watch now.
Yeah,
well, so that'll be next episode.
Yeah.
All right.
Next
episode it is then. Laters.
Bye.
And we're back. We left off talking about how we constantly feed off of each other in new things that we introduce.
Literally, I eat things off your body.
Indeed.
Mostly chocolates.
I think that's how I introduced you to White Russians or Blind Russians.
Body shots.
But probably the one that greatly affected our lives was when we introduced ourselves to internet content. I'd always been a fan of Red vs. Blue, made by Rooster Teeth, and you never really got into it. And then eventually I'm just like, here's just take my entire... I'll give you my entire 10-year box set and just watch it all. And you did. And what came of it?
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it, and then started watching other Rooster Teeth content.
I guess, now I'm a really big fan of Achievement Hunter, because I find them guys to be hilarious. Mm-hmm. But, then we started watching, IGN stuff because Greg Miller.
Yeah,
perfect show, him and Colin.
Yeah, you had always talked about watching IGN stuff, so I started watching, listening to Podcast Beyond and stuff like that. And then you're just like, oh, hey. And then we watched Gauntlet Season 2 by Rooster Teeth, and they had Greg Miller on. And then you're just like, oh, Greg actually does a lot of really funny stuff on his side, on his own thing. And then you showed me that, and just that's how I got introduced to those guys. And then shortly after I started watching them is when they did their whole rebranding to Kinda Funny.
Yeah, which you had to tell me about because I didn't even know.
Yep.
I mean...
So they rebranded to that, and then now they don't even work at IGN anymore. That became a brand new thing that you're talking about, or that we now talk about on a regular basis. And that we follow all their stuff.
Yeah, and you're actually a Patreon follower or supporter.
Yep, I'm a Patreon follower for Kinda Funny. and Kinda Funny Games, their game specific
sponsor
channel.
for Rooster Teeth. I mean,
I'm a sponsor.
I'm poor, so I don't get to do all that fun.
So yeah, we constantly like fed off of each other. Everything
it sounds
that we
so
like,
dirty
and then
when you say it like that, though. I don't know if I like when you say that.
I'll say it even more often.
I'm gonna feed off you. I don't know.
No, I don't know if I like that.
How about we don't and say we did?
Okay.
But, well, let's just face it, we're living in probably the greatest time period to live so far.
Yeah.
I don't know what the future will bring, but since we were born, the fucking internet came up like 5 years after we were born, and now look at it, we're fucking making videos on YouTube.
Now we can watch whatever we want, whenever we want, essentially.
Yeah, I don't even have cable. Netflix, Hulu, we could go online and be like, hey, I want to... Yeah, and now we're introducing our other, good friends.
Yeah.
Stuff like this.
But the only thing that I can never really introduce it to is my parents. Parents and family are just like, when I talk about all this stuff, it's just so foreign to them. The concept that you can now watch whatever you want, whenever you want.
And you don't have to pay for cable?
You don't have to pay for cable. You don't have to be restricted to what's on TV. Because all the content that I watch on the internet suits me so much better than anything TV can make.
Yeah.
Other than a few specific instances.
Tom, do you remember the last time you actually went and watched the news?
I never watched the news even as growing up or at all.
Well, your parents would turn it on, when you're eating dinner, you turn on the 5 o'clock news. That's normal. Normal people watch the 5 o'clock fucking news. And since I turned 16, have not watched the fucking news. And then I just realized that it's super depressive. Or depressing.
Well,
depressing.
It's just kind of dumb. When you don't exist in it for so long, you really start to realize how stupid a lot of the things that they do in the news are. There's really just only a focus. There's focus primarily on the shitty things that's been happening.
Yeah. They never talk about, hey...
And when they are good things, it's just, for half a second.
And then
they get back to the bad stuff. And it legitimately affects, how people see the world. Whenever I'm fucking home with my parents and they're watching TV, my mom is just, every single time somebody killed someone or did something terrible, she's like, how can those people exist? Just constantly like that. I'm just like, that's... 0.001% of the people that exist do that. It's just that they're the ones that get the attention because they're dumb.
Yeah, they ruin it for everybody. And the news, if they wouldn't acknowledge them, the hackers and whatnot, I don't think people would be bothering with it because nobody would give a shit.
Alright, well, that is Dead Nation. This is a fun series. This is a fun series of episodes we did, Chris.
Yeah, it only took us almost a year, but...
yeah, almost. Literally was almost a year. Might be a year by the time all these episodes come out.
Yeah,
but yeah,
who knows?
There it is, Dead Nation, and
in case you were ever
talking about ourselves
about buying it,
and game design,
and a fuck ton of Bloodborne.
Yeah, fuck ton of Bloodborne, and game design, and anime. Kind of everything we do.
Kind of us in a nutshell.
Pretty much. Well, yeah, that is it. I'll see you in whatever series we decide to do next. Later.
Yeah. Bye.